Hey, my name is Anthony Januzzi, and this is my presentation on the evolution of Theravada Buddhism and Vipassana. Theravada Buddhism is one of the oldest surviving forms of Buddhism, and is defined as being the doctrine of senior monks. Its teachings draw from a sacred literature known as the Pali Canon, also recognized as the Tripitaka, or the Three Baskets in Pali language. This ancient text is regarded as the word of Buddha. The first basket is known as Vinaya Pitaka, or the Basket of Discipline, which contains rules for monks and nuns to follow, as well as some history about Buddha. Each rule is framed within a story that tells how and why each was established. These rules are recited by monks on Uposatha, the ceremony held on days of full, new, and empty moons. Next is the Sutta Pitaka, or the Basket of Teaching. The content of this basket ranges from recollections of Buddha's teachings by his disciple Ananda, poetry and short readings and recitations necessary for basic rituals and simple teachings. The Sutta Pitaka is arranged into 5 subdivisions and is said to fill 40 volumes of text. The final basket is the Abhidhamma Pitaka, known as the collection of higher teaching. It has a systematic and mathematical arrangement of its information, which is much different than the previous 2 baskets. The technical nature of its content, difficult translations, and non-narrative format have made it the least focused doctrine for academic study. The living world in Buddhism is made up of humans, animals, and a handful of non-human beings. There are multiple hells and heavens, as well as a hierarchy of gods. All living beings, even gods, are subject to the cycle of death and rebirth known as samsara. A Buddha is the only type of being said to have mastered the realm of rebirth, and is no longer subject to it. This orthodox branch of Buddhism dominates religion in South Asia and Vietnam regions, including Cambodia, Laos, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. In more recent times, it has begun to spread to East Asia, Europe, Africa, Australasia, and the United States due to migration from countries post-Vietnam War in an attempt to improve their socio-economic conditions. The transition for Theravada into these modern regions has presented issues for followers attempting to maintain their culture in a foreign land. The introduction of inventions such as motorized vehicles or refrigerators into monk life has challenged basic core values which are held closely. It is thought that the nature of these assimilated Buddhists will continue to change as generations move forward. Aspects of traditional monk roles have been replaced by modern developments. Traditionally, the Theravada monk had a significant role as spiritual example and guide, teacher, physician, arbitrator in discords, counselor, and judge. The monk was usually the most educated and knowledgeable in a community, and most authoritative as a result. Social advancements have handed off some of these duties to more efficient agencies. A Theravada ritual known as Vipassana is said to have been practiced by Buddha more than 2,500 years ago, and is the oldest known form of Buddhist meditation. Individuals practicing this ritual assume position as observer of their thoughts and sensations, and as a result can become more aware of the present moment. This method of meditation is traditionally practiced in a motionless seated position. Sessions are intended to last from about 5 to 10 minutes several times a day for novices, but can also last up to several hours for experienced individuals. These sessions are aimed at perceiving mind and matter as impermanent, unsatisfactory, and impersonal. Vipassana has evolved as a result of being introduced into the 20th century's up-to-date societies. It is no longer viewed as something meant only for the forest monks of South Asia, but moreover something that can be practiced by a layperson, also known as someone who is non-ordained. This view has ushered in 2 major shifts for the ritual. Modernized Vipassana says that the attainment of higher spiritual levels is not as impossible as traditional Theravada once thought it was. The original attitude toward Vipassana matched this new view, but as time went on, the belief that these levels were difficult to attain, especially for lay people, emerged and had been held onto until recent reforms from globalization. It is also said that lay people can now practice meditation and still live lay people lives, meaning they don't need to indoctrinate themselves into the Pali Canon or Buddhist way of life. This has led to the creation of the Vipassana Research Institute in Maharashtra, India, which is aimed at undertaking research, disseminating knowledge, and promoting the practice of Vipassana meditation. The Vipassana ritual is also being changed from shifts in teaching styles. It is important to note that the Theravada meditation instructors don't see themselves as teaching their own personal methods, but moreover teaching what the Buddha has already taught. The ways in which they differ are techniques and emphasized points. 2 instructors stand out as leaders in this shift. U Ba Kin is thought to be the most influential lay meditation teacher because of pioneering and providing living proof for successfully integrating meditation into his lay person life as a high-ranking government official and family man. It was his teaching style that influenced an Indian businessman to establish the Vipassana Research Institute. Mahasi Sayadaw combined his erudition with practice to create innovative teaching methods which affected contemporary Vipassana on a global level. He said that while practicing mindfulness, one should concentrate on the movement of the belly instead of the nose, which had previously been the view of traditional Vipassana. The introduction of Vipassana into modern society has sparked interest from the scientific community. They are currently attempting to assign merit to many of the positive health claims associated with it, as well as understand the ritual's growth in absence of rigorous scientific evaluation. Early research shows promising results. A study by Medline conducted a variety of tests on Vipassana meditators compared to non-meditators, including differences in cortical and subcortical thickness, which is the portion of the brain associated with cognitive ability, differences in activation of brain areas, alcohol and drug consumption, changes in personality measured by a self-concept scale, and reduction of psychiatric symptoms measured by self-reports. Results are preliminary but have been divided into short and long-term outcomes. Immediate effects were noted as follows. Activation in anterior cingulated cortex and dorsal medial prefrontal cortex in both hemispheres were stronger in meditators. These areas are suggested to play a part in self-control, identification of emotion, and self-reflective consciousness. Long-standing effects found that brain regions associated with attention, introspection, and sensory processing were thicker, as well as having a significantly greater concentration of gray matter in the right hippocampus and right anterior insula. Emphasis was placed on the hippocampus findings because of its involvement in modulating cortical arousal and responsiveness. So that's the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.